The Pittsburgh Steelers find themselves set up pretty good moving forward. Set up in a position to where they could really take control of this division. They have two divisional games versus backup quarterbacks, teams with some injuries. The Steelers have some injuries themselves. But the Pittsburgh Steelers find themselves in a good spot moving forward. Let's talk about this Sunday's matchup against Cleveland Browns and what the Steelers need to do moving forward in order to take control of the AFC North. Welcome back to Mike Drop Sports, everybody. I'm Jason. The Steelers have a chance. The Steelers have what they've wanted all year, what they wanted in the summer, a chance to really do something special. And the way this schedule sets up, the Steelers definitely do have a chance to do something special. And when you look at this game Sunday against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland, the Steelers are counted out yet again. The Browns, even with a third-string quarterback, are still favored to win. And if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you realize, hey, everybody said we're the fourth team in this division all year. Everybody's counted us out all year. And if you're in that locker room, you need to have the mentality of the Steelers versus everybody else. And to tune out the bullcrap. Tune it out. Don't listen to the craziness. Don't listen to everybody saying that it can't be done on the Steelers' end. And if you start with the Steelers' defense, they have tons of injuries. Minkah Fitzpatrick will miss his third straight game. You have Keanu Neal, another starting safety, out with a rib injury, who's come up big with some interceptions as of late. You insert Trenton Thompson, a guy that can hit hard, a guy that can make some plays. And if you're the Steelers, you need to utilize him as a chess piece and not just stick him back there and tell him this is your definitive role and this is what you need to do. Let him fly around and make plays and get comfortable. That's what you need to use a guy like Trenton Thompson for. Allow him to come down in the box, make some big hits. Allow him to help out the inside linebackers. Allow him to fly around and just do what football players do. Everybody's good at this level. Everybody has been good to get to this level. I say it all the time. So let him fly around and get comfortable and do what he needs to do in order to insert himself into this defense. And if you're that defensive front, you're missing Montravius Adams with an ankle injury. It's going to allow Keanu Benton more snaps, and I like the way he's been playing. I like the way Cameron Hayward's come back from his groin injury. And with those two and Larry Ogunjobi, I think they could cause some major disruption up front and really cause havoc on that defense or on that offensive line for the Cleveland Browns. And I think the edge rushers and TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith really are going to make a third-string quarterback uncomfortable and to not allow him to get in rhythm and not allow him to set his feet and be comfortable back there and make easy throws. And if you're the Steelers at linebacker, you've dealt with so many injuries. Cole Holcomb, Quan Alexander, so many big injuries. And now you find yourself with the Landon Roberts, Walker, Robinson. Those guys you need to really play in ways that they haven't been good against the pass. We know they can come downhill and thump in the run, but we need to see a little bit from the pass game. We need them to help out a little bit. We need them to be able to be serviceable in that area. And the Steelers really had a position of luxury there with so many good quality players that they were able to mix up on pass downs, run downs, and bring in the personnel that they needed the most. But now they find themselves into some one-dimensional type players that they need to be better. And hopefully that happens. Hopefully Walker can come in and show himself and prove that he belongs in the NFL and not just sitting on a practice squad somewhere. Hopefully those guys can come downhill and still play that run really, really well and not overly concern themselves with the pass and really block out the things that they do well. You need them to come downhill and stop Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt. You need that run-stopping force from the inside linebacker spot. And I think this Pittsburgh Steelers defense is going to put a lot of pressure on the Cleveland offense and try to make them one-dimensional, try to make them play from behind, try to cause some turnovers, try to get the offense back the football. They're going to really try to pressure this quarterback into making quick decisions. He has 3 interceptions already. Thompson Robinson is a guy that can be forced into some big-time interceptions, into some big-time mistakes. And I think if you're the Steelers, coming from different places and not being predictable on defense will cause some major disruption inside that Cleveland offense, led by a guy that doesn't have a lot of experience. And if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, you need to be able to get the ball down the field and start stretching out those defenses. Don't abandon the formula that you've created, a formula that wins late in the season, a formula that wins in the postseason. Don't abandon that. Don't abandon the run game. But you still, if you're Kenny Pickett, have to think, I got to hit these throws that are open that I've been missing throughout the football game. I got to hit those. And if Kenny does that, this offense opens up immensely. Immensely, it opens up. Because now that's even going to make things better for the run game. They're not going to be able to overly commit to that run game. And if you're Kenny Pickett, you got to hit those passes that are there. You have to. I like Kenny in the fourth quarter. He plays well and he hits those passes more than he doesn't. In the fourth quarter, he's a comeback guy. And I like to have that type of formula moving into the playoffs, moving into the late parts of the season as we play these big, important divisional games. I like to see Kenny Pickett, though, come out a little early and be able to make some of those throws and move the chains, because what's the best defense for the Pittsburgh Steelers? And that is keeping the Cleveland offense off the field with time of possession, running the football, controlling the clock, making timely throws for first downs, not letting yourself get in third and long situations. If you're Dan Moore Jr., don't allow Myles Garrett to start taking over a football game. And Dan Moore Jr. historically has done well against Myles Garrett, and he needs to continue that. If you're Broderick Jones, you need to lead the way in this run game and really make a conscious effort on getting that 200 yards you speak of. Really opening some holes, coupled up with a Pat Freiermuth, a Darnell Washington. Allow those guys to mix things up on that right side and open some big lanes for Najee and Jalen. And also utilize that play action pass with Darnell, and now you have Pat back. Come out in some jumbo sets and start to really play heavy, demanding, controlling type football on offense. And if you're the Steelers, that's the formula to win. It has to be done that way. Kenny Pickett isn't to the level of being able to use his arm to win football games. And I don't want him sitting in there trying to force balls into tight windows and coming up with bad interceptions, especially against a stingy Cleveland Browns defense. Kenny Pickett got to stay in his own head and not let the outside noise of everybody saying how horrible he is affect him. And I think he's done a good job so far this season of doing that. And Kenny Pickett has to continue in the fourth quarter to be able to come up big for this team. The defense, hopefully, will continue to set that offense up to make a game-winning drive. Continue to allow this football team to move forward and gain another win this week to make them 7-3. Looking at the Cincinnati Bengals, who have a backup quarterback right now with the injury to Joe Burrow against the Baltimore Ravens. His hand looked huge. Maybe he won't play against the Steelers next week. And that could be big for a Steelers team that's trying to win this division and catch up to those Baltimore Ravens. This could set up nicely for the Pittsburgh Steelers' next game against the Baltimore Ravens to really mean something for this division, to really mean who's going to come out victorious in the AFC North champion. It could really happen that way. The Steelers could come out of the next 2 weeks sitting 4-0 in the division. And everybody's counted them out all the time. The odds makers have counted them out. Never pick them to win. Everybody, all the media, talking about how bad they are. I hear so much media talking about 2024 because the Steelers are about to fall apart. They're a 6-3 football team. And as a fan base, we need to get behind it and enjoy the ride. So, guys, let's get down with this game. Let's just get it over with. I want to see what the Steelers do. I want to just get to this game. I'm hungry to see this game. I just want to see it be done and over, and I want to see the Steelers come out victorious this week. I think 7-3, no matter what happens next week, I think that sets them up pretty damn nice, even if they took a loss here coming up in the next couple weeks. I think it sets the Steelers up nicely. I think they can win 3 more games throughout the season to get to that 10-win mark, that's what I think gets you in the playoffs in the AFC is 10 wins. It definitely does. but you want to look for this division. And I think that the way the cards have aligned for the Steelers, the way the stars have aligned, I think if you're the Steelers, you could really definitely have a great chance to win this division, especially if you come out these next 2 weeks and go 4-0 right now in the division with 2 divisional matchups remaining. One against the Bengals and one against the Ravens after these next 2 weeks. And if you're the Steelers, you can't let this outside noise contaminate that locker room. Tune it out. And I think Mike Tomlin does a great job at that and doesn't allow things to get inside that locker room and really keeps those guys together and keeps them playing like a team. And that's what it's going to take. The Steelers have the formula right now. They're playing with the formula that wins in January, that wins late in the year, wins divisions. And that's what you got to stick to if you're Mike Tomlin. You can't abandon ship now. You've rode it this long. You've got it rolling. You've got it working. You can't abandon ship. You can't try to make Kenny Pickett a 300-400 yard passer a week now. You can't do that. It's not time to flip it up. And I was waiting for that to happen. I was hoping that the Steelers coaching staff was playing possum and going to unleash Kenny. But I think you still need to stick to this formula, and Kenny needs to focus on just hitting those open throws when they're there, because I think averaging 24, 25 pass attempts a game if you're Kenny Pickett and actually hitting all of the ones that you can that are very makeable, I think opens this offense up to be like a Ferrari, man. And I think that they could really start to move, and I think that they could start putting up over 30 points a football game. If you're putting up what you are with just the run game, I think with incorporating a small amount of the pass game, I think you could really start to open this up and really start to put pressure on other football teams. Because other football teams rely on that Steelers formula when they come in and play the Pittsburgh Steelers. They want to keep the score close and have a chance at the end. And the Steelers defense has done a great job at the end of games stopping these teams from scoring, coming up with timely interceptions. But I think the Steelers here in these next 2 weeks, with the way the injury bug has hit these other two teams, I think the Steelers could start to get on a roll, at least offensively, and start to put up 28 to 30 points a game. I really think that could happen. Let's see what happens this week. I'm going to give you my prediction, my score prediction for this week. And some may say I'm crazy, but I think it's going to be a 24-10 football game. I think the Steelers are going to win 24-10. I think they're going to find ways to run the football effectively against that Cleveland Browns front. And I think Najee Harris and Jalen Warren are going to continue to have another big week. And I think they're going to come up with a score between the two of them. But I think Kenny Pickett's going to get a couple through the air. And here's why. Because I think Cleveland's really going to dedicate themselves to stopping that run. And then Cleveland's going to do Cleveland-type things. And they're going to throw interceptions on offense. And they're going to stumble at times against that Steelers defense. And the Steelers defense is going to be able to set the offense up down in good field position. And that's going to allow Kenny Pickett to get comfortable and start making some of those throws that are wide open for him that he's just not seeing down the field. Just not reading. I think the introduction of Pat Freiermuth back into the offense, couple that and run some with a Darnell Washington and run some big tight end sets. Run some several tight ends, 2, 3 tight ends at a time. Run the play action pass, using that running game to your advantage. Using what you do well to your advantage. I think is all going to start to come full circle as we've seen it start to come together in the last couple weeks. I think we have. I think if you really pick apart the games, you see this offense making improvements each week. However small they may be, they are improvements nonetheless. And I think the Steelers are going to be able to overcome this week with a rookie quarterback those deficiencies on defense, those injuries on defense, and hopefully allow Minkah to get healthy, Keanu Neal to get healthy. And use your players that you have remaining, Patrick Peterson, Trenton Thompson, Joey Porter Jr. Utilize those guys and mix things up in that defensive secondary. And make things hard, make things uncomfortable. And the Steelers like to play a lot of man-up type stuff. But I think you need to mix up some exotic things and make things hard to read for a third-string quarterback. It's just what I think needs to be done. Again, 24-10, Pittsburgh wins. I think it's going to be a big-time win for the Steelers. I think it's going to be a real confidence booster moving into the latter part of this year. It's really going to give them a leg up in the division. They come out 3-0, and I think things will really start to click for a Steelers team that when they're counted out, that's when they play their best football. And I think they really start to make a run at the playoffs here in 2023. All right, guys, thanks for coming through. This is Mike Drop Sports. I'm Jason. Until next time, peace.